Good evening, dear respected teacher, dear noble community. Today is Wednesday, February the 19th in the year 2025, and we're here for our retreat titled The Sound of Zen. Zen can have many different sounds. But I think it's more for us just to come together to enjoy some days of mindfulness practice while also being in touch with our creative side. As mindfulness is a very interesting terminology these days. Can be used in many different forms in many different ways, but in our practice here, we like to consider mindfulness as an energy that we can apply in any moment of our daily life. So, with the spirit of this retreat is the Sound of Zen, which also has us to give a chance to be in touch with our artistic, creative side. May I ask how many of you is your first time at a retreat, mindfulness retreat? Wow, welcome. And I see also a lot of familiar faces. Welcome back to our friends who've been here before, and also welcome. I wish you a warm welcome to all of our friends who've come for the first time. And so this evening, we'll just get a chance, just for myself, I'll just share a little bit about our basic practice, but also what to expect out of the retreat. I know it's not good to always put expectations on things, and so please take it with a grain of salt with what I share. But the main thing is to enjoy and have a chance to be in touch with the community that's surrounding us. Many of us who've probably been here before, you've probably participated in many orientations, but every orientation has a different flavor. It's kind of like, I don't know, some of you may have flown here, and you always have the flight attendants who always show you how to put on your seatbelt, where's the life jacket, where the exit rows, and so forth. If you've flown a lot, you probably don't give much attention to it. But if it's your first time flying, you probably want to know how to put on your seatbelt. Probably want to know how to put on your life, or where the life jacket is, or where the exit doors are. Is the exit door behind you? All these things. And so an orientation is something similar to that. But we'll get a chance just a little bit. I'll just share a little bit how my experience of the practice is, and for myself, how I enjoy the practice and how I can find it enjoyable for the past, I think it's going on 16 years as a monastic. And so, as I mentioned earlier, we have what's called the practice of, or what's called mindfulness. And so mindfulness can be used in many terms. I think it's a lot. The word mindfulness is being used in many different spaces. And so in our space here, we consider mindfulness as an energy that brings us back to the present moment. So it's just an energy that brings us to the present moment. And so what we were practicing earlier was a little bit about the practice of mindful breathing. And so when we put our hand on our abdomen, or when we are aware of our in-breath and our out-breath, it's the mindfulness of our in-breath and our out-breath. Nothing more. Just the breathing. You breathe in, you can feel your abdomen rise. When you breathe out, you can feel your abdomen fall. For the children, when we have children's program, I like to have the children put their finger under their nose. And when they breathe in, you can feel your finger get cooler. And when you breathe out, you feel your finger get warmer. I invite you to try it whenever. You don't have to try it now. But when you breathe in, it's just the mindfulness of the body. There's nothing else. Our mind is 100% in the present moment. It's 100% with the breathing. So this is a practice we like to call mindful breathing. And this is a practice that you can practice throughout any moment in your daily life. And so we do have a schedule that we will practice, but your breath, you're invited to practice mindful breathing any moment throughout the day. Because believe it or not, in order for us to be alive, we need to breathe. We need to breathe the oxygen. We need to nourish our body with our breathing. So why not do so mindfully? There's been many times where our breath has always been there for us, but have we ever been there for our breath? So there may be moments in our daily life where we may be in high stress moments, or we're about to, I remember very clearly, if I was about to take an exam, I would have a lot of stress in my chest or in my shoulders, and right when I have the exam in front of me, first thing I do is I breathe in, then I breathe out, and then I take my exam. Helps me to relax. So you may experience many high stress moments in your daily life, but sometimes just allowing yourself to take an in-breath or an out-breath, we can give ourselves some relaxation, even if it's only for like 5 seconds or 10 seconds. Those 5 seconds can go a long way for our nourishment, for our healing. And so don't take for granted even the slightest moment of your breathing. There may be many moments in our life where we may not notice our breath at all. But when we do get a chance to notice our breathing, we get to see how precious life is and how precious our breath is. And so this practice of mindful breathing, we can practice throughout our daily life. So now that I'm sharing it with you now, you have something to take with you for the rest of your life. Just to be aware of your breathing. And you'll experience within the retreat how much your breath and your mind and the awareness you have for your breath. Because you'll soon start to notice not only are you breathing, but the people around you are also aware of their breathing. And this creates quite a strong energy. This is what we like to call the collective energy of mindfulness. So while I was walking up here, and while everybody was, I want to make sure I give it the proper name, doing the sound tapestry. It was very beautiful sound, and there was many wonderful different sounds. So you have the sounds of humming, but then there was also the sounds of or birds or woo. I heard like a woo or something like that, and it created this very beautiful harmony. While I was sitting here and enjoying my tea, and it sounded like one voice, if that makes sense. I remember when I was in a band, when I was playing a musical instrument, and there was always our teacher always told us that for your sound group, even though you have many people playing that particular instrument, you try to create as if it was one sound, as if it was just one instrument playing, even though it is 4 or 5 different people in that section. So for example, I played the trumpet, and so there's many different harmonies, and we had 6 or 7 people in our trumpet section. And so it was all about creating one sound through 6 or 7 people. And so just seeing, I guess we were about maybe 60, 70 people, and hearing the sound of togetherness was very beautiful, it was very nourishing. And we all come from many different backgrounds, many different beliefs, many different upbringings, but we all created one sound. There was no kind of separation, or I think what's kind of in maybe a lot of people's spaces, maybe the differences that may be highlighted a lot within maybe society nowadays. But it's so beautiful for us to come together to see the collective energy and see the oneness, no matter of our background, no matter where we come from, or no matter what our situation is. And so here we want to create an environment where it's embracing for everyone, and a space of love, a space of care. We can see this opportunity during this retreat as an opportunity for us just to let go and come back to ourselves and take care of ourselves. There's no need to be caught into maybe the news or what's happening. Right now we can just let go and enjoy living as a human being, enjoying as a human being. We all breathe, we all smile, we all laugh, we all cry. So this is an opportunity for us to see the beauty of each other, see the beautiful nature of each other, and cultivate our love and compassion. And that starts with our breathing. Let us enjoy some breaths together as we listen to a sound of the bell. So during the retreat, we'll have many, you might have noticed a lot of bells at the monastery. So we just listened to our big bell here. I don't know earlier this evening if you heard our big temple bell, if it was invited. I don't know if it was too cold outside. I don't know if a monastic came out. I didn't hear it, but we tried to invite it. Maybe it's a little too cold, but usually it's invited. We have the great temple bell. We have maybe you'll hear many small bells. There's also an activity bell that we have as well. And so when you hear a sound of the bell at the monastery, it's an invitation for us to stop what we're doing and to come back to the present moment. And so you may hear this sound of the bell, or you may hear a bell outside, or you may hear an activity bell. But when you do hear the bell, we invite you just to please stop and allow yourself to come back and be aware of what is happening. Maybe if you were doing service meditation, or if you were just going for a walk, if it's around lunchtime, when you hear the sound of the bell, okay, it's almost lunchtime, or it's almost total relaxation time, or time for Dharma sharing. But we invite you to come back to your breathing and recognize what is happening in this moment. So you may notice a lot of people just stopping, or the monastery freezes for like 30 seconds or for a minute or so. It's just everyone is coming back to their breathing and enjoying this moment. There's also, you may hear different variations of sounds of bells. And so We have an activity bell, usually announcing the meal times or what the next activity is. And usually the bell, it will sound like this. You'll hear this kind of rhythm to the bell. Okay, so the sound of the bell will kind of be like this. So there will be 10 sounds of the bell in that kind of variation. And that's to kind of announce usually the meal times or what the next activity is and so forth. So when you hear that bell, we invite you just to please stop, come back to your breathing, and head to where the next activity is or where the meal is. And the meals will all be where we had dinner this evening in the brother's residence. And so you can line up and then we'll have our meals then. And I think our sister shared about the practice of the bells for the meals this evening. Right? Okay, okay, just want to make sure. And so we will follow that for the meal times. But there are many different types of bells, and it doesn't have to necessarily be a bell here. It can also be our cell phone ringing, or the chimes, like there was a wind chime, or it could be the chime of our clock. Like these are all invitations for us to come back to our breathing. These all can be like mini sounds of the bell during the day, or even it can be like the birds chirping. That can be a bell of mindfulness for us. Even I remember when we had a very large retreat in Plum Village, France. There's the tea area, which is very loud. So there's a lot of people just kind of coming and going and a lot of conversation happening. And then occasionally you'll hear a cup drop and break. And everybody just stops. And everybody just looks. And you can kind of hear like the gasp when a cup breaks. But it's like a bell of mindfulness. So even when a cup breaks, it can be a bell of mindfulness. So even in a loud crowd like that, but the sound of a cup breaking was a bell of mindfulness for everybody. And so there can be many different types of bells for us to invite us to come back to the present moment throughout the day. I want to share a little bit about the practice of sitting meditation. And so we'll have a chance to practice sitting meditation in our schedule in the morning and a couple of times no, not a couple of times, just in the morning, not in the evening. So sitting meditation will be at 6 o'clock in the morning, and we'll have wake up at 5:30. We invite you to please enter the hall a couple of minutes before 5:30 because the sitting session will begin exactly at 5:30. And so we want to 6. I'm sorry, 6. 6 o'clock. So please come a little bit before 6 o'clock. And so that you can find a space to sit. And you're more than welcome to sit on either side of the hall. We just ask that you please leave the inner rows near the altar for the monastics. So the monks and nuns will be sitting in the inner rows. And you're more than welcome to sit on the outer rows or coming in, or there will be spaces for you. And there will also be chairs available as well if you want to sit in a chair. But we ask that you do come earlier so that you can find a space, and because we like to start on time, so you don't miss on any times for sitting, but also we don't want to disturb others that are practicing sitting as well, because sometimes when the sitting session starts and you can hear like the creak of the door or someone walking in, it can be a little disruptive for someone. So I just share that for you. If you do end up coming later, please come in very mindfully and very carefully. It's kind of like, a small child that's sleeping and you don't want to wake up the child. So you kind of make your way. If you need to get something, you make your way and find a seat so that you're not disturbing others around you. And so And once you do find a place to sit, there are many different ways to sit during sitting meditation. I will teach you a couple of ways. So it's important for us to find different postures, but everyone has a different way of sitting. And so find what works best for you. First thing is, the important thing is not to fight your body. It's okay if your body, if you're sitting for a period of time, if you're experiencing pain, it's okay to relieve that pain. You don't need to force yourself to be an aesthetic practicing and forcing yourself to sit for 3 or 5 days or so forth. The practice should be enjoyable. And that's the main thing for us that I want to share. That's probably the main point that I will share for this evening. If you were to take anything with you, take that. The practice should be enjoyable. So we don't want to torture ourselves with our sitting posture. And so it's important for us to find 3 points of contact with our bottom and our 2 knees if we're sitting on a cushion. If we're sitting on a chair, then our 2 feet touching the earth. And so for me, I'm sitting in what's called a half lotus position. And so this is kind of just like one leg on top of my knee. And so this way it helps me to sit on solidly meaning it allows our back to naturally be straight without any force. The height of your cushion can help you with this. If you aren't as flexible, you may need a higher cushion. And so there will be cushions available on either side of the hall, so you can just grab another cushion and sit on it. You don't necessarily have to sit on the full cushion fully. You can sit just on the front third of the cushion. And this way it helps you to kind of raise your spine. There's a different way. I can't really do it, but it's a full lotus. This is where you move your other leg and you move it up here. I won't put you through the comedy of putting my leg up here, but it's where both of our feet are on both of our knees. This one you don't need a high cushion. You just sit lower on a lower cushion. But again, the main thing is to have an upright back, but feel relaxed and feel solid. There's also kind of the Japanese version to sit, which is, sit with both of our knees on a cushion like this. And this way we're sitting on our cushion and then both of our knees are like this. You can use also a higher cushion as well, which will help you kind of just sit very naturally with your spine upright. And so just be aware of the way you're sitting. And this way it helps for us the main thing is to have flow within our breathing. Allow your breath to flow naturally without forcing anything. And allow your posture to be enjoyable. Allow your breathing to be enjoyable. And allow yourself to relax. There may be times where we experience ourselves maybe some pain or some stress where we may feel maybe our leg falls asleep. And if it does, just gently, ever so gently, unfold your legs and you can allow your blood flow to flow again within your leg. And so just be mindful of your actions, of your movement. Just be very mindful if you want to move slowly of your movement. Give every movement your attention. And once we're seated, just be aware of the placement of our hands. You can either have it on both of your knees or on your lap or on your stomach. many different ways. You can play with it, see what works for you. You may like to sit 10 minutes. Like for me, I like to sit. I found out that when I sit, I start off like the first 10 minutes on my knees, and then I move near towards the end. It just kind of naturally just does this. And so no intention behind it. It's just what happens during my sit. And so just kind of do what works for you. And then slowly you'll start to find your breathing. Some people like to close their eyes. Some people like to look a little bit ahead of them. But allow yourself to just have your mind just stop and come back to your breath. So the practice of sitting meditation, there really is no set goal. The goal is just to enjoy your breathing. Enjoy sitting. Enjoy the calmness, bringing yourself peace, bringing yourself joy, bringing yourself stability. And you can experience that through our practice of sitting solidly. And so you can do this at home as well with your practice of sitting. We sit for about half an hour during the retreat. Maybe in the beginning you may find it difficult, but maybe near towards the end of the retreat you'll find your sitting practice to be more enjoyable. And you can take this home and you can practice sitting for 5 or 10 minutes, or however long you may like to sit, 45 minutes or an hour, and so forth. But the main thing is to have our mind stop and look deeply. So that's the essence of mindfulness practice, is stopping and looking deeply. It's like a bird and its 2 wings. So when we're practicing sitting, we're stopping. Stopping here means stopping our mind from thinking, and we look deeply. So for example, someone asks, how do I take care of my anger during sitting meditation? When you say, I have to stop my thinking. That's a very good question. Because how can we take care of stuff if we're not processing through it? But here's a monk saying you got to stop your thinking. We stop our thinking so that we can return to ourself. And whatever comes up, then we look deeply into it. It's kind of like a gardener taking care of their garden. When they see the different, where the tomatoes are here, here's the spinach, here are the onions, here are this and that. When a gardener goes into their garden, they recognize each and every vegetable or fruit that they've planted. But then they also look deeply to see if my plants are healthy. Are there weeds? Are there any kind of bugs or eating at my plants? Are there anything doing harm to my plants? And so you, as a practitioner, we do the same. We just come into our garden through our mindful breathing by stopping and looking deeply. And then whatever comes up, we take care of it. Our body will tell us. We don't need to force anything to come up if it's not ready to be taken care of. Our body will naturally let us know. And usually it starts with us coming back to our body, recognizing any pain in our body, any stress in our body. And when we allow our breathing to take care of these areas of stress and relax these areas of stress, we can start to see the roots of what's causing the stress to arise. And then we can take care of it. Let us enjoy some breathing with our posture. We sit upright and sit beautifully, and enjoy some breaths with the sound of the bell. Then after our sitting in the morning, we'll have breakfast, and then with the meal times, I think you guys already know the practice of mindful eating. And then after breakfast, we'll have what's called mindful service. And shortly after this, after the orientation, we will split into our service families or our Dharma sharing families. And so there will be the sharing about what our responsibilities are during the retreat. I think you also have it on your name tags as well, what your responsibilities are. And then there will be more explanation on the actual responsibility. But during the practice of mindful service, it's a chance for us just to offer a little bit of our support for the retreat, so that for the monastery, so that we can make sure that give a helping hand to the monks and nuns, so that we can make sure that there's hot water for the tea table for tea in the morning, or the restrooms are clean, or the dishes are being the pots are being washed, and so forth. This is a great help for us. But also the goal is not to get the goal is to get the responsibility done, but do so in such a way where it's enjoyable, but with the practice of mindfulness. Service can be a very beautiful thing. And if we're aware of how we're working, or how we're servicing, or what our relationship is with work, if we practice and do so mindfully, we can have a different relationship with our work. And so here, the monastics, the organizing team have allocated many different responsibilities, and sometimes, we like to work and we like to get it done as efficiently as possible, or as soon as possible. And that's just kind of how the mind works. We want to get it done as efficiently as possible. But then you see the monastics doing it very slowly, or, we only get half of the work done, and so forth. But the main thing is that we can do so with peace and happiness, the service. And we do it together as a family. And I think that way we get to see the beauty and the enjoyment of the service that we offer, when we get a chance to do it together as a Dharma sharing family. And during the retreat, we'll have opportunities to have Dharma talks and a session of questions and responses. And then we'll have the practice of walking meditation. The practice of walking meditation is very similar to the practice of sitting meditation, but more so we're just enjoying the practice of walking. So we'll get a chance to walk together as a community. So for myself, walking meditation is probably one of my more favorite practices. It's because I really get a chance to be in touch with my body as I'm walking. So when you're walking, you bring your mind all the way down to the soles of your feet. So you can feel yourself, just the contact of your body with the earth, allowing yourself to center your body and mind with the earth, with our Mother Earth. You can incorporate your breathing as you're walking. So I can breathe in, take a 1, 2, 3 steps. When I breathe out, take 1, 2, 3, 4. Our out breath usually is a little bit longer than our in breath, and so just allow it to flow naturally. You can allow yourself to relax while you're walking, and you can enjoy the scenery around you. We will be doing this outside, and so you get to enjoy the scenery, enjoy the beauty around you, enjoy the art that Mother Earth offers to us, and we get to enjoy it every day. The main thing is just to enjoy the walking, and the fortune that we have to walk. I think sometimes we walk, and we may like to walk very quickly to a place, or very hurriedly, but we're not aware that we're walking. We're rushing ourselves. And so you actually can walk very fast and be mindful about it. And so I'm not saying that running is not meditation, because running can also be meditation if we're aware of our steps and our breath. And so we can incorporate our breathing with our walking, and we can see ourselves arriving with each and every step. We can arrive. We can see ourselves at home. Each step brings peace. Each step brings joy. And so we can see this great joy while we're walking. And our teacher Trie would always see himself as he's like kissing the earth with his feet, sharing gratitude to the earth and our body. So we can just relax our whole body and enjoy the steps. I don't want to keep you guys much longer because I know it's been a long travel day, and unfortunately myself, I won't get a chance to enjoy the retreat with you all because I will be leaving for Plum Village, France tomorrow on a trip. But so the organizing team had kindly asked me to offer orientation this evening, and so this is a chance for me to be together with you guys. And during my trip, I'll also get a chance to go to Africa, to have a retreat in Africa, and it's a kind of a dream of mine. And so just imagining walking with the footsteps in Africa will be a great, that's like a dream of mine. And I'm very looking forward, and I bring you guys with me to Africa because you guys are a part of the community, and we're in each other. And so very much looking forward to that. And just a couple of last things that I'd like to share, because honestly, the best thing about retreat is the experience. And so I can share as much as I want about each and every practice, but once you've experienced it, you get a grasp of what I'm saying, or you get a grasp of what works for you. And so not to overlook the orientation, but more so as this is an invitation for us to practice mindfulness and understand what mindfulness is. So mindfulness is not a tool that helps us with an issue or anything in our daily life. Mindfulness is a way we live our life. It's a way you live your life. Can you do so mindfully? It's not a tool that, oh, I have mindfulness, I'm suffering, let me take it from here, help me with my suffering, and once I'm done, I put it back. It doesn't work like that. It's a way you live your life. And so just through the practice of sitting, just through the practice of walking, just through the practices of eating, we're cultivating our mindfulness energy throughout the whole day, throughout our daily life. There's another important practice that I want to share with you, and then we'll wrap up here. It's what we have is called, and we'll practice it after this, is the practice of noble silence. And so this is a kind of a sacred time at the monastery. And so noble silence starts at 9:30 until we after we wash our dishes after breakfast. And so this is the silent period of the monastery, but it's also a chance for us to practice very deep practice of silence. It's one thing to be silent, not speaking to each other, but it's another thing to be silent internally. Which may be a challenge, because sometimes we may have what we like to do. Maybe at night before we like to go to sleep, we might like to read a book, or we may like to maybe our young people like to doom scroll, or watch TV or so forth. Which is not a bad thing. It's just how are we treating ourselves before we go to sleep? And sleep is a very important thing. And so we want to make sure we're taking care of that. And a good way to do that is allow ourselves to be silent, but internally. So be aware of your mind. Be aware of what's happening in your whole mind and body. And so that's kind of the theme of everything. So just be aware of what's happening inside and around you. For me, what I like to do before I go to sleep is to do a body scan. So I lay down in bed and I relax my body and I just scan my body. I start from my head and go all the way down to my toes. Go through all the organs if I need to. For me personally, I never get past my shoulders, because after I get to my shoulders, after I relax my shoulders, I knock out. And so I always say, okay, maybe I should start with my feet next time. And I start with my feet, and I never get past my knees, And so I have to apologize to like my stomach or like my heart and things like that, because we never get there. So maybe I'll start with my heart tonight. Now that I'm saying that, maybe I'll start with my heart tonight. But it's the body scan, just giving yourself some love and care. So give yourself some TLC, because we may not do that enough for ourselves. We may do it for others around us, but for ourselves personally, do we give ourselves much love? So giving yourself a body scan at night, for myself, I found it to be very helpful for my sleep. And I see that I sleep much more better, and I wake up much more fresh. And so noble silence is a chance for us to do that for ourselves. It's a chance for us to really take care of ourselves. Give ourselves that love. Nobody's bothering us. Nobody is, bothering us. It's only us bothering ourselves and us taking care of ourselves. So we have that opportunity. We no longer need to make excuses for us not to take care of ourselves. This retreat is an opportunity for us to take care of ourselves. Because when we take care of ourselves, we're taking care of our communities, we're taking care of the earth, we're taking care of the world, believe it or not. So there's a popular calligraphy our teacher writes is, peace in oneself, peace in the world. How can we expect someone else to be peaceful, or we force them to be peaceful when we're not peaceful within our own self? So peace begins with us. And the practice of noble silence can help us to be in touch with peace, can help us to be in touch with compassion and understanding in our daily life. And in terms of the logistics of the retreat, we have our organizing team, which will share. We'll have workshops during the retreat. We'll have many different things. And so if you forget anything, it's perfectly fine. The main thing is to just flow. Flow as a river. If you see the other person doing something, if you're unsure, maybe look at the monastics. If you're not really sure what the monastics are doing, look at your friend, or look at some friends around, and they will help guide you. So whatever I shared this evening, if you forgot anything, it's perfectly fine. The main thing is for us just to flow as a community and to enjoy. You've come here and you've taken the commitment to be on retreat with us. And so this is a gift for you that you've given yourself. This retreat is a gift for you that you've given yourself to take care of yourself, to be in touch with the arts, to cultivate the practice of mindfulness, the energy of mindfulness. And so, let's not take for granted these beautiful moments that are about to come, also the present moment. And so, thank you so much for listening, and thank you so much for being here this evening. I wish you all a very wonderful retreat. Just enjoy. That's what life is about, enjoying. Enjoying life as it is, enjoying the wonders of life, and the miracle is to be alive. You are precious, and you are beautiful, however you are. So be beautiful, be yourself, and I wish you all a very successful and happy retreat. And I also just like to share my greetings, and I hope you won't see me for the rest of the retreat, but I hope to see you in a retreat in the near future. And so wanted to share my wishes for you for the retreat, and I hope you all have a wonderful retreat. And if you have any questions, we have our lovely organizing team and any of the monastics and any of our staff. But we do have some staff here volunteering and helping us during the retreat, and we all can make this retreat beautiful together. So once again, thank you so much. And let us end with 3 sounds of the bell.